there you have it. Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night finale. What a fantastic episode. I think they managed to wrap up everything. And despite how much they had to wrap up, I think they did a good job. I think everything it didn't feel rushed, I think is the key thing there. I think the only thing left unfinished really is the whole thing with the father. It kind of begs the question, why even bring the father into the story when they didn't do anything with him? But I think it's one of those things where it's sort of left vague. It's like, we can't wrap up everything. Like, you can't really, not everything gets closure, I think is the best way to put it. Not everything is going to have a happy ending. And the whole situation with the father, it's just left undone. And we're not going to even mess with it. It's just there. It looks like he kind of acknowledges what Kano is doing, and that's a great thing about that. But it's not as if suddenly out of nowhere the father shows up and the mother and they start kissing, and then Kano shows up and they all hug each other. It's just kind of bittersweet in that regard. But again, the rest of it was fantastic. I think it was a really great little wrap up, and like I said, doesn't really feel rushed, and I think that's the important thing there. But yes, let's dive into it in proper, opening up with, yes, Mahiru presenting to Yukine to have Jelly perform at the Sundolls thing, which I did like how she put it. And this is sort of a message throughout the entire episode, and it really is where it really punched me. I think of the entire episode, what really punched me was obviously her using her real name on the credits. That was an acknowledgement of who she is, her even showing up at the graduation. Again, it's not as if they suddenly embrace each other and they love each other. It's an acknowledgement. There has been an acknowledgement, and Kano has grown up and she's moved forward. It does kind of suck that they didn't sort of clear things up completely. We don't get some sort of sense of, things are good with them. It seems like there's good between them, but it's not as if like suddenly she's going to say, Mom, and they embrace each other. It's sort of a mutual respect that's kind of been created. Kano has grown up and her mother has acknowledged her, and they kind of move on with their lives. So anyways, presenting this thing to her, and like I said, I like how Yukine kind of points it. Like, okay, yeah, that got a lot of buzz. That video got super viral, but you always have to consider what people are going to see in it. And she's obviously seeing that ultimately people are going to see there's going to be some sort of idea behind it, and they're going to see through it. The fans, the viewers, everybody, they're going to, and sure enough, they did. They did. Exactly what Yukine said was going to happen, happened. Suddenly out of nowhere, everybody's going, oh, they're just trying to use the buzz and the controversy behind this, the doxing and everything. They're trying to use it to get buzz. And I like that you basically have Kiwi on there saying, I'm going to smash all that stuff. She's doing all the clearing up of all the misinformation about, what people are perceiving is going on here. So exactly what Yukine said would happen, happened. So they have to have a clear reason behind what they're doing. And yeah, what Mahiru basically told her is that I want to help somebody that has helped me. And essentially in the end, what happens is Yukine spins it in a way that it actually is beneficial. That goes to that entire final message. That final message is the idea of this is the past now coming together with the now present. They're acknowledging who Kano is. They're literally acknowledging, they're not hiding it. They're saying this is literally the person and it's part of this whole situation. Now, granted, yes, the name that's on the board is, again, Kano's real name, but what they say in the message is, if you know, you know. If you know, this is a very important thing. It's basically saying, if you know the whole drama behind Sundolls and you know the identity of Kano, we're acknowledging that you know. And we're saying, yes, we know that you know. And this is important, right? This is a very big deal. We come together. We've reconciled and we made this big performance from the ashes of all the controversy. I think that's a big, bold move. For Hayakawa, that company, that is a bold move. And I think the way they presented it would be a way that I think a lot of people would accept. And that's the important thing there. Again, Yukine's not dumb. Even though some people would argue her using a high schooler, which again, that's the idol industry. Welcome to it. It's just dumb that she's accepting all this information from Mahiru and going along with it. But again, she's smart. She's not an idiot. Like the argument about the artwork. I heard a lot of people saying, why would you even bother with a high schooler to do the art? Again, my argument there is that they use performers that are high schoolers. This is what they do. They exploit kids and use their art in order to capture young audiences. But with that whole situation, my assumption would be that, again, she's not dumb. She probably has an artist working on it. I mean, they did corrections on Mahiru's work. They have an artist. They will do something. They have a backup plan. No company is going to rest everything on one single person. She probably has a backup plan. But anyways, she knows what she's doing. And so she knows exactly what these people are going to think. And again, that is exploiting the situation. And she twisted it. She turned it. But again, there is another side of it that in doing so, she is also technically acknowledging Kano, which is the greater story about this whole thing. But anyways, yeah, they get the invitation. Kano doesn't see it. She seems like she wants to do it, but at the same time, she's obviously got her hesitation. They come there. They see. My heart broke the moment that Kano walked up there and seen Mahiru and her mother up there on the stage, and it's almost like that whole thing of I should be there. She's in that same spot that I used to be, and so it's almost like that feeling of like hurt that you can't be there as well. You can also see it as it's been a long time since she's seen her mother. But yeah, Sundolls has their performance. Kano goes up there, yeah, sees Mero behind the scenes in the backstage, have a little brief glance at each other. But no, this is where it starts hitting heavily on why Kano is so afraid. And I do think they portray this really well. And the idea that she admits, yeah, there's probably a lot of people in that crowd that were fans of mine that I let down. And additionally, people out there that hated me. Like they hated my guts after that whole incident. So she's seen that. She's hearing that. And so she goes down there. She's still hearing it, still hearing it, still hearing it. And it ultimately basically leads to her kind of, yes, freezing up. I always hate the hecklers. I always hate the hecklers. They always have these hecklers in these idols and band shows. And it's like, God, you just want to go in there throughout the crowd and just strangle them all. But no, I love this. Thank you so much. I mean, it ended up doing it, but I do like the fact that Melo, she spoke up first. She was the first person to speak up. Now, that's a question mark as to why Melo spoke up. Why her? And I think this is kind of a culmination of all the scenes that we've seen with Melo. Again, early on, it's that she was doing this thing for Yukine. She adores Yukine and was trashing other people. Yes, she was upset that she lost her position, and she was probably jealous of Kano because of that. But nothing ever happened in that regard. It wasn't until suddenly Kano discovers the account that she has and takes it from her. Kano gets really mad, lashes out at Melo, and Melo basically used that situation for herself. Now, cut forward, then we get this brief shot with Kim and Melo. And what does Melo say? We're both the same. We are both the same. There's so much about us is the same. We're both after the same goal. We both have nothing. And yes, additionally, admitting that she sees that Kano now has friends, that she has moved on. And it does seem like Melo, in seeing Mahiru and Kano moving forward, that she has seen sort of a wrong in what she's doing, that she is sort of empty. That despite the fact that Kano has this, I don't really have anything. Like, she's in a state of denial that these people online aren't her real friends. And what she did isn't actually good. That she didn't achieve something great. But additionally, towards this later part here, it does show that at least Melo does appreciate Kano. But my mind still does technically question, why would she speak up? Yes, the cynical side would be she wants to look good. Melo steps forward and says, go get him. And the crowd's going, yeah, Melo's cheering for her. She's the one that saved the day. I didn't get that from her expression. And especially the relief that she has after the crowd focuses in on Kano again. Because yes, you can say her shouting out, people are going to have attention on Melo, and then she gets the fame for it and calling out to her. But then once everybody's now focused on Kano as she's performing, Melo wouldn't be doing on some sort of relief in her face as an act. She looked like she was relieved. So it's obvious that she did that to help Kano. The one thing that I can say for sure is that you can say that Melo did that in order to essentially help somebody that's like her. Again, they're the same. She sees Kano as being so much like her and liking the same thing that she likes, and she wants to help out a fellow Yukine, adore her basically. But again, because she sees herself so much in her. And I think it kind of sucks that we don't get enough of the two of them in between the point that Kano joined and the point that they broke up to get a sense of if Melo liked Kano in any way. But I think it's through proxy from others, and again, that mutual respect that I think she has with Kano, that she wanted to encourage her. And you can also probably say there's a part of it that she almost wants to help Kano because she regrets what she did. I think that can probably be a really good conclusion you can come to as well. That Melo scene, I did something wrong and she called me out for it. Now I acknowledge that what I was doing was wrong. So I feel bad that in her being frustrated with me, I caused her to lose everything. So yeah, I can see it both being a mutual thing, and I can see it being an aspect of her finally seeing that this look idiot site was wrong. Kano called it out, got hurt for it, and now she's trying to reconcile in some way, or trying to undo some pain. So, anyways, I thought it was cool though. I thought it was cool because my assumption that entire time Kano's on the stage, all right, Mahiru, scream out, you can do it, gambare. This is like the most overused trope in these situations, is the person they look up to and care for the most yells from the crowd, and suddenly they get that burst of confidence. It's Melo. It was Melo. Melo told her to look up and see that. And again, the inspiration technically does come from the jellyfish. It comes from, again, looking over and seeing Mahiru. But I like the fact that Melo was the first one to speak up. So really cool that happened. But anyways, performance was really cool. I was looking for a lot more in the lyrics, and I'm not really good at drawing symbolisms out of lyrics. It does mention this aspect of the snow itself, being a jellyfish, trying to shine, being able to shine despite the fact not being able to hear the snow, I think it said. It's a little weird, but I can see it being an aspect of innocence. I lost that innocence. I'm out in the open, but I've still managed to shine. And it could be an aspect of her saying, Mother, I'm no longer innocent and underneath you and needing your help. I've managed to shine on my own. And I think that's sort of what it was saying, because it was supposed to be a song that she was singing for Yukine. The performance itself and everything does technically push to Mahiru as well, I think, in the end, which was fantastic. I think in the end, it hit Mahiru too. So it was really cool. But yeah, super cool performance. Really a lot of emotion there. And then, yeah, the follow-up with them coming together. I thought it was cheesy. Mahiru just rushing through there, and then got a stupid escalator. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so stupid cheesy. It's so stupid cheesy. I know people love this stuff, but it's super cheesy. But anyways, yeah. The cast scroll. The cast scroll, like I said, I think is, for me, I think the cast scroll is like 90% of why I love this episode. I think it was so much there. The conversation, yes, is obviously great, because it's Kano saying, hey, what do you think of working with my mom? She's a bit extreme. Yeah, I know, right? But again, it was almost like Mahiru acknowledging that she's going through all that, like, her entire life. That's her career. That's crazy. And it seems like Kano kind of accepts that, but also kind of acknowledges that there's a downside to it too. Like, she acknowledges there's a good thing about how hard she works, but she sees there's a downside, which is, yes, obviously her neglecting her child. Obviously not looking after her child and trying to reach out to her child, presumably. But again, it's Kano acknowledging finally what she wants to sing for. It almost kind of puts in a sense of, I relied too heavily on my mom. I tried too heavily to rely on you. And the moment that you guys were gone, I lost my foundation. So I need to set a new foundation. I want to spread that foundation wider. And so it is to her fans. She's shifting her focus back to her fans. I want everybody that's struggling and having difficulties and hates the world and struggling, I want to sing for them. I want to focus on that. I thought it was a really cool way of kind of wrapping that up. But again, the message. I like the beginning part is really crucial, because it says, for those that have a deeper knowledge of sundolls, this is a collab between the past and the present. If today served to convey the emotional significance of that opportunity, we couldn't be happier. We hope that you continue to support sundolls. That was great. Again, that is basically them going, hey, for those that know, you know that Kano was a part of Sundolls, and thus this was a bringing it together. It's not pointing it out. It's not blatantly pointing it out. And even having Kano at the end of the credits, people aren't going to know unless they know. It's saying, for those that know, you know that this was big, and it was very important. It's almost as if it's saying, we're not going to ignore the elephant in the room. We know what you see, and there's a point to it. It was a very good statement to make. And it's kind of implying, based on how Kano was recognized at the end, that this is something that she wrote up as the performance was happening. She wanted people to know. And I think it was through the confirmation of what happened in that whole ordeal, that entire performance, is what makes her acknowledge it. Yes, she ends up using Mahiru's real name. She's like, that's fine. That's fine with me. Didn't use Kiwi's name, so that's not something they were doing for everybody. But then again, at the end of there, Kano Hayakawa. Again, her real name. Their family name is Hayakawa. So she is recognizing Kano as her daughter. She gained that recognition. She did good and blew away her mother, to the point where her mother acknowledged her. The moment that Kano seen that and just absolutely broke down, it was like, the crying, the pain, and it has to be a silent cry too. They don't even have the sound, just a silent cry, just to make it hurt even more. And then icing on the cake, of course, was the 50,000. They had 50,000 live viewers, which essentially, and she even mentions it later, she fulfilled her wish. She fulfilled her mother's wish. Everything else considered, if anything, I managed to do something for my mom. That was great. That was a gut punch as well. That was a gut punch as well. And then they had the after stuff, which I always love after stuff. I like it whenever a story kind of jumps a little bit forward, kind of sees where everybody's at. Not that it was a big jump. It was to their graduation, so it would have been probably the same year. But yeah, the whole aftercast thing was great. Kiwi, she's talking to Koharu. Apparently Koharu's got another plastic surgery on herself. Kiwi doing a live stream at some point during the graduation itself, and her essentially trying to be somebody for those that are outcasts. Again, why are you all here? It's graduation day. You must be outcasts. Let me give you a word of advice. Many people are going to say that you're not normal and that you're weird. If nothing else, I'll be at your side. It was a great little kind of talk up there. I thought that was really sweet. Baba announced that she's 42. And everybody's still loving it. Baba's up there on stage, age 42. It was great. Mahiru's getting asked for advice from her sister. Yes, we've seen Kano and Melo sitting down at a restaurant. Yeah, again, they were talking about Yukine. Again, I think that's the connection that Melo has with Kano. She does see her as somebody just like me. Kim has paid it forward. It looks like somebody confronted Kim about her music and how it inspires her and that she has no friends, and Kim basically turns into Kano. It literally Kim turned into Kano at the moment right there. Well, no, she turned into Tachibana. Let's be perfectly clear. She turned into Tachibana and was inspiring the girl. Like, no matter what, Jelly is going to be there for you. It was super sweet. Again, it's kind of like that whole thing of inspiring, which is pretty much been the series as a whole, which is what I've loved about the series, is inspiration. Yes, the mom going to Kano's graduation, standing there. I like that. It was like she walks up there and the mom's just standing there, and she immediately turns and says, I fulfilled your wish. It was great. It's like, yep, mom, I did it for you. Don't worry, I got you, mom. I got you, mom. And the mom basically saying that she's grown up so much, and yeah, congratulating her. It was super good. Like I said, it's not as if they're 100%. It's just that bittersweet. At least they've reconciled, I think, is a bit the key thing there. And yeah, they all meet up to redo the mural, which was fantastic. A really cool little kind of insight in the characters. You know, Kano kind of fearing that they can't always be together, and there's a lot of sense of moving on and how life itself is going to take them in different directions. But even still, Mahiru's like, well, we'll just have to make sure to hang out as much as possible. That's the fix right there. Just hang out as much as possible. Eventually, you know, time's not forever, but at least we can enjoy the moments that we have. It was really funny, though, when Kim first showed up. It was doing a bunch of jumps. And so when Kim first shows up, she's like, oh my gosh, she's in a school out. And it cuts it off. Like, it totally was going to have Kim just absolutely geek out, but it cut her off. But anyways, yeah. Then it wraps up with a little statement by Mahu talking about, you know, shining, even though they say that they can't shine and whatever, that whole thing. Super cute, but really cool finale for the season. I really did enjoy it. Again, the only thread that I see that was undone was the whole thing with the father, which, yes, I can question, like, why even bring him up in the story for several scenes, but it's fine. Again, it doesn't have to wrap up everything. But yeah, really cool finale. Really enjoy this series overall. I appreciate you guys dropping by weekly to check out my videos covering this series. It was a lot of fun. Yes, like I said before, it wasn't my highest traction videos every week, but I enjoyed covering the series, and so every now and then I'll have a show. Most every season I have a show where it's like, I love the show so much, I'm going to cover it anyways. I might not get many views, but I enjoy covering it. So yeah, appreciate you guys dropping by for this whole thing. But yeah, if you are here, make sure to stick around as we go into the new season and new shows and all that kind of stuff, and we'll see what we cover next season that gets horrible traffic. It might end up just being dead demons. But if you are new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can get my content on news, reviews, first impressions, top lists. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you like this content and you want to support the channel more, add Patreon link, tips, links, everything's membership button below. Greatly appreciate it, but it does. Y'all take care.